New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science with Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
Welcome to Divine Science Everywhere. I'm Reverend Joy Fletcher, and I am so happy that you're joining us today. Part of the way I express ministry is through grief support, and I'm a hospice worker and president of Divine Science Ministers Association and a member of other New Thought organizations.
And hi, I am Reverend Jeff. Glad to be here. Also, with Reverend Joy, I am part of the board of the Divine Science Ministers Association, as well as the Divine Science Federation International. You can also look for me on Facebook, Giati Ministries on Facebook, Giati. Giati stands for God is all there is.
And I'm Durrell Watkins. I am the senior minister of the Sunshine Cathedral, the president of the Divine Science Federation International, the dean of the Samaritan Institute, which is a New Thought ministry school, and I am an auxiliary bishop with the Global Justice Institute. So, I've got lots of hats, but I've got a pretty big head and lots of hair to keep them up there, so it's all good. And I have a very special connection to today's guest, but you'll learn about that later. Before we get too much into all of that, I want to tell you that Reverend Joy leads us each week in a guided meditation. It's very powerful, it's very serene. So why don't you get relaxed and be ready, get ready to be led into a moment of oneness.
Thank you. Things seem very chaotic in our outer world right now, don't they? And it's an especially important time for us to regroup and refocus and remember the source of our inspiration and true spiritual power. And we're here to remind each other that we're here for each other to hold this space. So let us pause together. Wherever you are, allow your body to settle. If you wish, gently close your eyes. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. As we settle in this moment, it is not to escape the world, but remembering what is eternally true within it. God is absolute good, is present in every moment. in every place and in all things. This present isn't distance, it's omnipresent. It is the life, the love, the peace, the hope that moves through us right now. It is the light and the steady, constant hope that is within each of us and in every moment. Ernest Holmes said, "Peace is the calm assurance that the universe is friendly and that we are at home in it." Melinda Elliott Kramer, co-founder of Divine Science, wrote, "Truth is the remedy for every misconception." Isaiah 9:2, "The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who lived in a land of deep darkness, on them light has shined." So let us imagine a gentle light at the center of your being. A steady, compassionate light. This light carries justice, the knowing that every life is sacred. The light carries peace, the calm confidence that truth is active. This light carries love, unconditional and inclusive. Allow this light to expand into your thoughts, in your relationships, and to our shared world. We choose to be instruments of justice, anchored in peace, guided by love, and illuminated by divine light. Justice is not separate from spirituality. Peace is not passive. Love is not limited. Light is never absent. May we walk gently, speak truthfully and compassionately, and trust the presence moving through all, even if our senses tell us that things are hopeless. Let us be beacons of light, standing up for divine justice and light and love, not coming from a sense of punitive thoughts and actions, but rather correction. Love is our guide. Justice, divine justice, and peace is our guide. And we stand firm on this truth, that everything and all is good. And so it is, and so it shall be forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Joy. Before we get to our guest and a little bit of business with the network, let me just tell us about 3 important leaders. Only one is officially in the New Thought movement, but Truth is Truth. And you'll see that that the ideas that we have aren't new at all and have actually been around in a lot of places for all time. So the first person I want to tell you about is George Fox. He lived in the 1600s, almost throughout the 1600s. He was born in 1624 and left the planet on 1691. He's the founder of the Society of Friends, more commonly known as Quakers. George Fox taught that Christians should live simply, not swear any oaths, not make distinctions of social class, and to oppose war and violence. For Fox, the measure of a person's faith was not their theology or even their knowledge of or opinions about the Bible, but in their own personal spiritual experience. His followers became known as Quakers, sometimes because of their meditations, their deep experiences in the silence. Sometimes they would sort of fall asleep, just gently, peacefully, just go to sleep. Or sometimes they would break out with some sort of message, or sometimes they would simply quake. And so they were called the Quakers. They became known as Quakers because of that, though the official name is the Society of Friends. They represented the left wing of Puritanism, believe it or not. Puritanism, which was trying to purify the Church of England and became very austere. Well, then the liberal wing of that movement became the Quakers, and they believed in a divine inward light. That Jesus is sort of the representation of that, but the light is in everybody, and that light is divine. They called that inward light that of God in every person. That of God in every person. And they imagined that as an inward light. And a lot of still Quakers, their way of praying is to journal, to meditate, observe silence, and to hold people in the light. You'll notice that there are some New Thought traditions that have those similar behaviors. So they either imagine the light within you and they see that light is perfect and sort of taking over your life, or they see you enfolded in light, and within that light there's healing energy and love and harmony and all of that. So that's a wonderful Quaker way to pray, is to hold people in the light. It's interesting to note that Melinda Kramer was Quaker before launching the divine science philosophy. All right, next is George Berkeley, 1685 to 1753. He was an Irish philosopher and an Anglican bishop. So he's Church of England, he's Anglican, right? But he believed that God is spiritual substance. A guy up there somewhere, not somebody on his throne, but is spiritual substance. Have we ever heard that anywhere in New Thought? He believed that God is spiritual substance and that everything that is must be made of the same spiritual substance. He was not divine science. Well, I think he was. He just was before we had a name for it. And he wrote, what humans thought to be substance is actually an idea in the mind of God. I've heard very similar things right out of the mouths of unity teachers as well, that we are a perfect idea in the mind of God. All right, and the last but not least, and finally, an official New Thoughter, Phineas Quimby, 1802 to 1866, generally considered the father of the New Thought movement. If Emma Curtis Hopkins is the mother, Quimby is the father. He spoke of the Christ principle. Instead of Christ being just one person ever in the history of the world, the Christ principle, demonstrated by Jesus, but it can be embraced and demonstrated by anyone. Sort of like Buddhists talk about the Buddha nature. So he spoke of the Christ principle and considered Jesus to be an inspired soul, not uniquely divine, but sort of an example of the divinity that's innate to all of us. He said that mind as matter and mind as solution, by which he meant invisible essence. That was just the language of the 19th century. But mind as matter and mind as invisible essence are controlled by a superior wisdom, which Jesus understood. That would be that Christ principle, the Christ within, the Christ nature. Long before Einstein discovered that energy and mass are equal, identical, and interchangeable, Quimby was saying that mind as form and mind as essence was the same thing. Quimby was known as a healer. He reasoned that dis-ease is really a belief, and beliefs can be changed. To change the underlying thought is to change the condition. And so those are our spiritual heroes for this week. And before we get to my spiritual hero, who's with us as a guest today, let's first take a little break. We are Divine Science Everywhere, and this is the New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Well, welcome back.
Okay, where are we? I have been not feeling too terribly well today, so I'm a
We're
little.
up to you.
Oh, we're up to me. Oh, okay. With my introduction, I thought I already gave everything.
About our guests.
Yeah, about our guests. Oh, there's so much to tell about
Yes.
Bishop Robert. I'm not going to give everything because that'll give away from the conversation, but he is the executive minister, Reverend Bishop Robert Griffith, executive minister of Sunshine Cathedral in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Local and online constituents in the thousands. He and Bishop Durrell are doing some good work there. He was a religious programming specialist in the U.S. Navy. He was the HIV field coordinator for MCC, Metropolitan Community Churches, for a couple of years, and he joined the staff of Sunshine Cathedral in 2006. He was a graduate of both the Episcopal Divinity School and Florida Center for Theological Studies, and is also an auxiliary bishop with Global Justice System. And as I alluded, he and his husband, Bishop Durrell Watkins, are co-founder, serve in ministry as a team with both Sunshine Cathedral and as auxiliary bishops with Global Justice Institute. And one of the really cool things about Robert is that he is the youngest of 14 children. Yikes. So welcome, Bishop Robert. You get the standard question that I always ask everybody. You've got a lot of bona fides, but how in the world did you find New Thought and Divine Science in particular?
Wow. Well, first, thanks for having me on the show today. Kind of the person behind the screen. Now I'm on the screen with this project. But I think that New Thought found me. I don't know I necessarily found it, but it found me. And I think it found me through one of the heroes that you often speak of on this show or, the settings. And that was actually through Louise Hay. And I'll talk a little bit more about Louise Hay in just a few minutes. But I also found a lot more about New Thought through Bishop Durrell Watkins, who happens to be my husband. So I kind of married into it as well, or married up into it as well. So I kind of found it back in the late 1986, 87 timeframe. That was kind of my first introduction to it. But at that time, as we often say in the South, I didn't know what I didn't know, but what I needed to know found me for such a time as that. So it worked out well for me and Louise Hay and some others who was in the California area at that time. So I've been around it quite a while, but I'm probably more into New Thought since being here at the Sunshine Cathedral in Fort Lauderdale. Been around it quite a while.
Okay. And you started a church after you got out of the Navy. You started a church in Hagerstown, Maryland, which is still going today, right?
Yep. Started a church back in 1994. It was a church plant out of a little place called Boyd's, Maryland, and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. If you're familiar with that part of the world, and a great group of people came together to say, "Hey, we need a church in this area where we don't have to drive up to 2 to 3 hours to get to a local MCC, Metropolitan Community Church, or another welcoming church at that time." And so we started the church. It was about an hour's drive from where I lived at the time, but a great community in Hagerstown, Maryland. Lots of wonderful stuff happened there. I was there for about 9 or 10 years, and so it was a great group of people that made a difference in people's lives in that part of the world with our feeding program, our cold winter program. We networked with another organization out of Washington, D.C., delivered food bags out as far as Shepherdstown, West Virginia, and beyond for people living with HIV and AIDS. And so so yeah, that was a good 9 or 10 year run. That it was more one of those times in my life where it was a trust thing of God. You said it, and I'm going to trust you to do it, and I'm going to step out on faith to let's see if we can start a church from a concept on a piece of paper to something that's viable, that meets people's need. And 9 years later, it was bought their own building, great congregation, and to this day, it's still going strong. So I'm very proud of the work that community did to really establish that church in that area. So more kudos to them than to me. They just let me play along with them.
And you did a lot more with metropolitan community churches than just pastoring one, right?
Oh, yeah. I've been with MCC, Metropolitan Community Churches, since 1993, I think. 92, 93, I've been stumping around Metropolitan Community Churches and ordained for several years. So in addition to pastoring, I also served at various positions throughout the denomination, programming director for HIV and AIDS, and also as a regional elders assistant, and also as a personal assistant to the then moderator of the Metropolitan Community Churches. So a lot of my work started out kind of like grass level, and then just kind of worked my way up into a lot of the programming that we did. And I think one of my biggest accomplishments that I'm proud of when I was with the Metropolitan Community Churches is the overhaul of the clergy credentialing process. And so we revamped that program altogether to make ministry more accessible, and so a lot more people coming into MCC at that time. So that was kind of one of my signature projects, along with the team of people that worked on it with me. So yeah, great time with Metropolitan Community Churches, and still got good stuff going on with them on the peripheral. So it's been fun. It's been a fun ride.
Tell us about, because it's in the triple digits. I don't remember the number, but Robert was a key part of Metropolitan Community Church's education, clergy training for a long, long time. And I forget the number. It is in the triple digits of people who are in ministry today. They may have gone on to UCC, UUA, Unity, whatever else, but they started MCC, and and so you taught them personally. How many are those people that you personally taught or supervised on their way to getting ordained?
I'm going to conservatively say at least no more than 300 individuals.
I was thinking 300.
Yeah, during my time with that particular project and program. And it was a program that oversaw people who said, I think I have a call to ministry, all the way through to ordination. And so it was a process by which we walked with people just by thinking I have something, or I heard this voice, or I heard this something saying that I have a call to ministry, and also to help them articulate what that ministry might even look like. Because ministry for us was not just about pastoring a local church, but also about chaplaincy. It was also about hospice care. It was also about actually getting one of the first chaplains on active duty in the military. So it covered a breadth of individuals coming into ministry at that time, but a lot of them went on to do a lot more things than just pastor a local church, and a lot of them did great work with that. And so yeah, I'm going to probably say conservative 300, and just, when I think about that, that's one of those things you sit back and you realize the impact that you had on people's lives without ever knowing the impact, because it's one of those moments you realize that they went on to impact other people who impacted other people. And so that's one of those divine connections that you have no concept of how you touch people's lives just by willing to say yes.
And you continued that educational aspect when you joined Sunshine Cathedral.
Indeed. When we got to Sunshine Cathedral, the then Reverend Grantland Ford was there. And of course, Durrell, my husband, followed him as a senior minister. But we had the Samaritan Institute of Religious Studies, which we continued the Samaritan Institute of Religious Studies there, Samaritan Religious Studies now. And so that program, we really kind of took that kind of outside of the church and made it more accessible, even to our folks down in the Caribbean. We did a lot of work with people in the Caribbean at that time. And now Durrell has taken it on to be a partner seminary with Divine Science. And so a lot of people access the studies from kind of all over the globe right now through what he's doing. But to have been a part of that initial setup was kind of, one of those moments, again, it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't, what is this all about? It's like, okay, I'm the preacher's wife, so I'll go ahead and do what the wife does normally in a church and teach Sunday school classes or bake cookies or something like that. But really, it was way more than just the typical first lady or first man's role in a congregation this size. And so it's been fun to do that over the years also.
Joy, you got some stuff. I got 2 questions, but I'm going to wait till Joy because I think I know the answers to my questions anyway. So.
Right. Right. Well, I really appreciate your dedication and the work you do in social justice. I just admire the 2 of you very, very much for that. Would you like to talk about some of the projects that you've been working on recently?
Oh, wow. Recently, I think the project that kind of pops to mind is this work I do both on behalf of Sunshine Cathedral and also the Global Justice Institute is the work that I'm kind of doing in partnership with our folks in Pakistan. We have a budding relationship with the organization that's there. We're exploring what that looks like to be doing LGBTQ work in a predominantly Muslim nation, but also with a Pakistan who happens to be Christian. And so, and his particular interest is working with people on the margins. And so that's one of the projects we have going on. We also have a project in Botswana where we have done a well project in simple terms. We've done a well project with a community there where we have established some water silos.
Bringing water,
They can harvest the water that waters the crops, that take care of the animals, that also take care of the people. So it's one of those kind of domino effect. You do one thing, and then one thing of just getting water to a community enables that community to enable themselves to grow fruits and vegetables, to take care of the livestock, and also develop a community center where they have a farmers market. So that's another project we have going on. And that doesn't mention some of the other work that we do really literally around the globe with global justice that we have going on. But those are 2 of the projects that I'm most close to right now.
Pride House.
And that's a local.
You are the it's a 3 organization thing, but Robert's sort of the CEO of all that. He oversees that, gets everyone to work together.
Yeah, and that's kind of a local justice thing that we're doing that we initiated through the Sunshine Cathedral in partnership with a couple other organizations. But the Sunshine Pride House is a safe house for LGBTQ individuals who have been either kicked out of their homes or they're on the streets for whatever reason.
Under 25.
Under 25. And we do that in partnership with the Our Fund Foundation and also Sunshine Social Services. They provide the wraparound services and the clinical services. But the house is designed to get people a safe place to be off the streets, and also gives them an opportunity to get the tools that they might need to get back into individual living or be reconnected with family situations, or to even get out on their own. It provides them with educational opportunity as well, or job opportunities. So, and to date, since we've been doing the Sunshine Pride House going in its 3rd year, third year now, I think we've probably seen, I'm going to say safely, 70 clients have gone through the Pride House. And so
it's been across 3 year, like 24, 24, 25, 26, but we're talking about 15 months.
Yeah.
Like it's 3 years, but it's not even a year and a half of actually, so 70, and that it's quite a little package.
And just to be aware that you're taking care of people who literally would be on the street otherwise. And it's more than giving them a hand up, it's giving them an opportunity to redefine.
It's not a hostel. It's not a dorm. It's a house. It's a duplex. And there's 2 people to a room, and they all share a kitchen, and then the 2 sides of the house share a laundry room. But it's living in a house. It's communal living. It's negotiated living space, but it's no more than 2 people in a bedroom, and then you have a kitchen you share, and a bathroom you share, and a laundry room you share. But it's pretty independent living, and there are people, caseworkers or whatever, available. But at night, they have to be responsible. They have to be adults. They don't have a dorm mother. You know what I mean? So it really is sort of a unique situation.
And perhaps some people are learning communication and collaboration where, if they were used to being out on the street or kicked out or isolated, that's the opportunity too, that they learn those skills. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and one of the things I like about the beauty of the Sunshine Pride House is that, even though you're in it for whatever reason or however you got there, once you leave the Pride House, you become an alum of the Pride House. So you are never without connection or resources if you should need them again in the future. So, as an alum of the Pride House, you become also like an ambassador and spokesperson, but you also can access those same resources again as many times as you need it, whether you become a resident of the Pride House or not. You now have this arsenal behind you, if you will, of support, from clinical services to medical services to counseling. So that's one of the beauties of this particular Pride House, where that may not be afforded in a lot of places, but this is, we kind of built this into this particular site, that as an individual come in, they're taken care of, the needs are attended to, and when they do leave, they become alums, so they don't have to feel like that I've just been kicked out and now I'm on my own again. They still have that collegiality of the cohort of the people they were there with, so they're not by themselves. They can always do a tap back if they need to.
So they don't feel abandoned and, here.
And they become community.
That's such a unique thing. That's
Through
such a
Sunshine
unique
Social
thing.
Services, we call that SunServe, Sunshine Social Service. Everyone there gets a life coach and a therapist, and they have to be either in school or working. So they have a lot going on, and they can be there 6 to 12 weeks. But in that time, not only are they getting shelter and food, they're getting life coaching, therapy, and then either work or education experience all together. And though it's affiliated with the church, they don't have to go to a single service. It's not the Salvation Army. Like, okay, go to a worship service, and then we got this great food for you. No, in fact, we haven't seen most of them unless we're involved that end. There's no proselytizing at all.
And what's really cool is the fact that you're not abandoning people after they kind of age out, like they would if they were, as a former medical social worker, I had some colleagues who worked with younger people in the foster care system, and once you get 18, you're out and you're on your own, and you don't have shit. You don't have any kind of resources to draw on. If these folks have something that comes up, they can come back to you for support, and that is probably the most awesome aspect, I think, of what you're doing.
And one of these, we see it on the streets, we may see it on TV, but when you have a kid who shows up with a trash bag and their entire life is in that trash bag, it takes on a whole different feel about the services that we offer and what we can do for individuals and how that can impact that one individual's life. And so I think that, if we take that and replicated that model, it doesn't have to be like a Sunshine Pride House, but even in the circles that we're in our local churches and our local houses of worship or in our faith community, if we just kind of model that attitude about how does each one reach one, and how do we each connect with somebody that can make a difference, then we're lending our energy to people that we have no idea where it would end. I grew up missionary Baptist, and we used to sing this little song that it only takes a spark to get a fire going, but once the flow is going, everyone in the room can feel it. And so I think that's what I think about when we talk about helping people. It only takes a spark. It only takes a word of encouragement, a word of hope, a word of guidance, or even just refer, if it's even out of our reach of our capacity of what we're able to do. Sometimes it's just a referral, and referring someone to some place that can make a difference, because I think we're living in very unique times right now, especially here in America, that we all are going to need each other in some capacity to help with encouragement, with divine light, with hope and energy, and sharing all that we got, because it's going to take all of us to do it.
Hey, Robert, and it feels so weird to call him Robert, because at home he makes me call him Bishop Sweet Baby. But but by the way, behind him, that is the sanctuary of the Sunshine Cathedral. Tell them about, because when we were first starting this and beginning, and we were looking at models to follow, and whatever, we were at the place that sort of helped us get a vision for how to launch this. And while we were there, someone showed up. They didn't even have that trash bag. In fact, they weren't fully clothed. They showed up in their underwear, and an hour later had a place to be. Tell them I didn't, anyway, it was kind of overwhelming, but we saw that and we're like, oh, we've got to make this happen. So anyway, tell that.
Yeah, when we
Tell
was in the
that to the
process of researching different models about how this particular house could function and operate, we was actually on a tour of the facility, and this individual showed up because he didn't have any place to go. Basically, he had just been kicked out, basically with what he had on, which was not much at all. And the staff there was very tender, very caring, and responding to the need. They understood the situation. And which I think that also lends itself to, when you deal with a situation like these, is having the right people at the right time to respond. And so they responded very graciously, and we kind of was on the peripheral witnessing all of this happen. But the way they just took this individual in, and like Durrell said, within hours, they had him in a place that was safe, off the street, out of harm. They had him in a place where we would have shelter, have access to food, to clothing, and things like that. So these things make a difference. We may think that they don't, but they really, really do. I think that's just being mindful, of people who are around us. We have no idea the state of what anybody is in around us. And I'm just often reminded of, just because we see someone presenting one way does not mean that their world behind them is just not falling apart. And so I think that's where part of that divine light comes in, that we can hold them in divine light and shelter them with love and with kindness, and do what we can within our own means to help someone out. So, but this organization was great when they did that, which really kind of said to us, this is how we need to step up to people in our need in our community.
And you're honoring the dignity, the personal dignity of each individual, and that is so important.
Yeah,
we do that with our food sharing program too. Tell them about that. 55,000 people we fed in 2025.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's kind of different with a lot of other organizations, is that people who are in the system or in that place just kind of becomes a victim of the system. It's kind of like they just come a part of the machine, put them through. But the difference with our Sunshine Price House and also our food sharing ministry is that we do want to treat people with dignity. We do want to treat people with respect. So like the food sharing part of the program that we do at the Sunshine Cathedral, individuals come in, yes, there's bags of groceries that's already prepared for them. There's other things prepared. But I love that they have what's called a pick table. And the pick table is, you go down, you pick off that table whatever you want or whatever you might need for yourself. And no one's trying to tell you what you need or what you don't need, but you just kind of, you say, this is what I need for myself for this week. And so I love that people are able to come into this program and say, thank you for treating me with respect. And I'm not just part of some process or some machine that you just put a bag in my hand and send me out the back door. But there is access to resources even when they come through like that. And I think that's a big part of also just treating people with dignity and respect can do a lot for one individual's self-esteem when they come in looking for services. That we don't have to be that mean person who stands at the door with a mean face, when it should be, welcome, glad you're here. How can we help you, and how can we be of service? But I love the dignity that we share, and it also exuberates in a spirit that people take that away from with them also. And I love the fact that when people do access this program, that they not only can take food items for themselves, but they can take it for a neighbor, they can take it for a friend or someone else who may not be able to come into the food program due to immigration reasons. Yeah. And so our particular feeding program asks no questions. You come in, you sign in, and whatever you put down is what you put down. We don't ask for ID. We don't ask for any type of proof. Our goal and our mission is to make sure people do not leave without something to eat. It may not be what people want, but you do not leave without something to eat. So there's a dignity in that, as well as that we want to treat people with respect and also keep them safe while they're coming through this program at the same time.
You don't have to prove that you need. If you say you need, we believe you. And people who can't get to us, we also have some deliveries. We have volunteers who deliver food to veterans, people in retirement homes, that sort of thing. They can't get around.
Yeah, I really appreciate this. Just the other day, there is a really wonderful ministry in the town near where I live that offers food pantry services. They offer Shelter Limited, and they want to expand. And the city is willing to partner with them to purchase a property downtown in order to do this. And a lot of people are freaking out. It's that not in my backyard type thing. They don't want the homeless there. They don't want the underprivileged there because they're afraid of property values going down. I mean, we're talking about businesses here. Who cares about their property values? You know, they're in business. But the thing of it is, they want to expand to include so many other services to offer to people who are unhoused and who are underprivileged and who need the assistance. So I really appreciate the fact that you guys are doing such marvelous work in that. Have you come across any of this not in my backyard bullshit that we're seeing up here? Because it's and these are people who profess to be churchgoers, to be Christians, and they're taking such very unchristian attitudes. And I'm like, this is not what Jesus taught. This is not what how. So I find
Bishop's
that
got a story. Bishop's got a story.
Well,
I just find that disconnect to be so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple of those stories, but fortunately, I would say that locally, the city has always favored what we're doing. But the local HOA where the cathedral sits, some of those individuals have not been so kind. And with the threats, with the allegations, it was so bad. At one point, we had one neighbor flying a drone over the property. To which we had to say to them that is illegal because we're within 5 miles of an airport. And if you do not cease and desist, we will call the authorities. And so it's that type of intimidation that they tried to do to get us to shut down the program. But the surprising thing is, and this is the surprising thing, the same individuals who tried to shut it down became the same individuals who needed the services.
Whoa.
Right. And who now volunteer. We have people in the neighborhood that didn't like it 10 years ago, and now they're some of our best volunteers.
Yeah, some of our best volunteers, and also they're accessing the resources that we have to offer. And so we're just kind of mindful that this is a both and. There are people who don't want it in their neighborhood. There are people who that's going to bring an element in the neighborhood that we don't want. But I have to remind them these elements are already in your neighborhood. We're not doing anything to bring anything that's not already here. We are trying to take care of the people who are already here by giving them something of dignity and service provided that can make their lives a little bit easier. And hopefully it helps them to then access other resources that they can access to get them into a better situation. Because here's the deal. No one I have ever met has ever said, this is the situation I want to be in.
Right.
No one has ever said, oh my God, I just live to sit on the street corner and beg for money, or I live to come here every week just to get what I can get. No one has ever stood in line and said that. And so I think it's being mindful of the privilege which we have, that we can use that in a way to help those who are less fortunate. And it doesn't have to be a whole lot. It does not have to be a whole lot. It can be just, again, a smile, a hello, a courtesy. Or you got 2 for $1 at the grocery store, you pick up one for you and you bring the other one to a food pantry. It's just that simple. And I don't think people realize how so little can go such a long way with folks who have nothing at all.
Absolutely.
We have it. The last Sunday of the month, we have what we call a spare change offering, or the noisy offering. So it's a second offering, the last Sunday of the month, where we just ask people to give spare change. And if you don't have any coins, well, then dollars work too. And that goes to help supplement these ministries. It's just an extra, and like just that. Just people from their pocket change can get another $300 a month just from pocket change to help, feed people. And sometimes we've had a handful of people who wind up going to church because of that, because they appreciate it. But we've had even more than that who wind up volunteering. They say, I so appreciate what you've done for me. What can I do for you? And they wind up being good volunteers. And so they feel like it's a mutual exchange of energy and not pity or whatever. So it's a, and Robert, I have to say, we have all these great programs, this big group project and blah, blah, and everybody has their role. But when it comes to implementation, signing contracts, paying the bills, blah, 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 that's all down to Robert. So he's part of a lot
of divine light and a lot of divine energy.
So there's all the sexy stuff that you see or hear about or whatever, but there's a lot of administrative stuff to make that possible, and that's Robert.
Yeah.
And the point that you brought up just a little bit ago is that these programs are not drawing people to the community. you're serving people who are already there.
Already
And
there.
a point that had to come out the other night in our meeting was that, you're worried about bringing homeless people in here. No, they're already here.
Yeah.
Where have you been? Open your eyes. They have been here all along.
Just taking care of them, rightfully so. Yeah. Yes.
One of the big. Go ahead, Bonnie. Go ahead.
I think one of the things that anchors me in that work also goes back to Louise Hay, and it was, my introduction to Louise Hay and the Hay rides that she would conduct back in those days. And the one song that I found, I love myself the way I am, and there's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. And so with that kind of affirmation, I got from Louise Hay back in the late 80s, it continues to this day to inspire me to do the work that I'm doing. And so I think that was one of those moments in life where you get a lesson, and get the application of it until much later.
That's right. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about your Louise Hay experiences?
Oh my gosh. I was actually in the military time. I was stationed at Camp Pendleton in California. And, it's a little ways down from LA, but there was a group of us who was part of the HIV/AIDS community that we would get together and go up to where Louise' place was and do the hay rides. To be the support group, it'd be the meditation, and it would end with the hay ride, which is where I first learned that song about I love myself the way I am, because we closed every meeting with that particular song. But just being around Louise, it's like that. It's like you walk into a room and you know something's there, but you don't know what it is. The first time I recall walking into the room where she was sitting, I didn't know who she was. And so we're just all sitting there, and then, she kind of walks in, and then this like quiet comes over the room. And she holds the room with her presence without ever saying a word for the first 15 minutes. And we just sat in silence. And there was not a dry eye in the room from the time she started to speak. And her opening words was, I welcome you just as you are into this space. All of who you are into this space. There's nothing that you need to leave out. You are all welcome. And I remember that, and just part of that memory just sticks with me from that time with other people who were in the group with me as well. And, a lot of them are no longer with us, but I still remember that spirit, that energy from gathering in that support group room. And I'm just aware that her energy touched so many people as one of the first persons at that point in time to reach out to those living with HIV and AIDS and offer a different alternative approach to healing in addition to medication. And so I think that when she was helping people tap into the energy, to say, hold the mirror in your face and see ask your body, what do you need? And hold the mirror in front of your face and say, I love myself. That really was a different type of healing outside of what doctors were prescribing or not prescribing at that time. And so she really was a prophet, a guru, a saint for such a time as that. And I think her teaching and her spirit lives on today through anybody who ever had any encounter with her personally, or even through reading her books or listening to her tapes. You cannot have been around Louise without taking something away from her.
And what are some of the names of her books?
Well, the one I anchor to is the love one, but the healing yourself.
You can heal your life.
Heal your life.
Yes.
And that's the one I still read over and over to this day. I would just pick it up because what I needed was bodily healing at that time, realizing that medical stuff wasn't going to heal it, just bodily healing. And I remember when she was making cassette tapes. This was way back in the day. And I would fall asleep every night listening to one of her gratitude tapes. And, it was like just that meditation of just like, just let your mind flow, let your conscious flow, deep breaths, filling it from your tongue. And I love the tapes. And I love the books. It's like, that was what I needed.
Do you remember that blue book?
I'm sorry?
That blue book called, I think it was called the AIDS book or something like that. Do you remember that? That was very popular in those days.
Yep. And, but I just remember, the tapes, the books, but more the conversation, and people remember like how those sessions changed their lives. But, any book you can find by Louise Hay is not a bad book.
The power is within you is part of the curriculum at the Samaritan Institute. Louise Hay's The Power is Within You.
And you can hear some of her affirmations and meditations on YouTube. And also there's a host, isn't there, on New Thought Media Network?
Yes, it's
Durrell?
called, what's the show
What
called?
would Louise say?
What would Louise say? Yes.
Louise, yeah. I remember after Louise, I think it was her son. I think it was her son who took over a lot of the work that she was doing, and really started to talk about. I think it was her son.
Maybe it's Fisher's. I think she had a daughter, or was it a son? I think she had one kid.
Anyway, one of her.
Everyone called her. The people called her Mama Lou. So she had lots of kids.
Whether he was biological or not, whether he was biological or not, I just remember he was one of the main advocates who took over the work and making sure a lot of her work got online for people to access from around the globe. And I love the fact that people can still access what she's doing or what she did, and the impact that it's having on people today. It's just amazing.
And here you are to speak about your life, because you were introduced to Louise Hay, and it had a ripple effect. And I'm so touched about your story. Is like we don't know what the answer of yes will lead to. Exactly. We don't need to know the whole. We don't need to know the whole book, or even a chapter. We just need to know one step in front of the other and follow that guidance.
Yeah,
that's it. It's powerful.
The power of yes is amazing.
Yes. And then sometimes, I don't know about you, but I look around and think, what did I agree to?
Exactly.
What was I thinking? Well, that was just it. I wasn't.
Yeah. And then we find ourselves in some place being blessed beyond our measures, or being made aware of things we hadn't even thought of before, because we said yes, and it's a unique encounter.
Yes.
Louise Hay had this gift of sort of creating affirmations that just became yours. Like you so resonated with them that you would adopt them. And some I still say every day. All is well. I am safe. Everything is working out for my highest good. And out of this situation, only good will come. I mean, those are all purpose, She also had ones, my income is constantly increasing. I prosper at every turn. I deserve good in my life. There was even one, I have lots of luxurious hair.
She
had an affirmation for everything, and it was good.
Oh, wonderful.
We're about to wind up a little bit. So Robert, why don't you give us a final word, and then we have one more break, and then Joy does her bit to wind us up. But why don't in the next 2 minutes just you tell us whatever you think we need to know?
I think one of the things I would say is there's kind of what Joe was reflecting back to is the power, the willingness to say yes, because the willingness to say yes can change your attitude. It can change your situation. It can change your mindset. It can change your position, your disposition. Willing to say yes is very powerful. I mean, when I flip back to when I first said yes to ministry, and articulate that call to ministry, I realized later there was one calling, but many callings. That we're not just called to do one thing. We're called to many callings on this path that we're on in our faith journey. And I think being in a position to say yes to those callings also leads us to wonderful opportunities and engagements along the way, because it will open doors, or just open situations, not even doors, it will open situations that we may find ourselves in that we would probably no otherwise be there, where it's holding the hand of someone at their bedside when they're making their transition, or celebrating their wedding, or celebrating their birth of their child, or their baptism, or just being in company and sitting with people to relax and get to know each other a little bit better. So being able to say yes doesn't always mean you're going to be able to predict the outcome, but just being in a position to say yes can change one's disposition in a positive way.
Thank you, Bishop Robert, for your willingness to say yes.
He said yes to me too. All All right, that's so great. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll come back and wind things up. But we are Divine Science Everywhere, and this is the New Thought Media Network.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're so glad that you could join us, and thank you, Bishop Robert, for coming from behind the camera to in front of the camera. We really appreciate you and how you manage things behind the scenes every week for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And next week, our featured guest is Reverend Nancy Stokes, and she will talk about her path to divine science, as well as her past work as a puppeteer and how she traveled all over the U.S. And on January 30th, our special guest is Kathy Wilson, who is an animal chaplain. So that will be really interesting to hear that. And we have lots of wonderful things planned for this new year, and we encourage you to keep coming back and like and share this show. It's just awesome. It's awesome. We really appreciate your support. So until next week, remember that this is Divine Science Everywhere. And Divine Science is above all, through all, and in all. That is omnipresence. Until next week on New Thought Media Network, this is Divine Science Everywhere. Bye-bye.